Okay, let us see how do we construct an entity relationship diagram. You very well know what is an entity. You even know what is a relationship. Now, today we will see how do you draw an entity relationship diagram. Now, this entity relationship diagram is a very important concept in DBMS because it is from an ER diagram that you will be constructing tables. So before we learn how to construct tables, you need to know how you can draw an ER diagram. Now the steps to draw an ER diagram is you have to identify four things. First is the entities, followed by the attributes and the primary key, followed by relationships, and then the cardinalities. So this is how you draw an ER diagram. You should be following each and every step. Then only your ER diagram will be perfect. Now let's see how you can draw an ER diagram. Now, to draw an ER diagram, you should first write a story. Okay, so building up the story is very important in ER diagrams. Now we'll do it directly with an example. So all of you have a question. Construct an ER diagram for a college, management system. Okay, construct an ER diagram for a college management system. Now, the first thing what you have to do is, as I was telling you, you have to first write a story. Now, a story means, it should be very, very simple. Now, the first story I will help you writing, and then you can build up on that. Now, when you think about a college, there'll be lots of students. Okay, so we'll first write. You're starting writing the story. Student. What do they do? The student, he attends or studies the course. So when you construct a story, see that each sentence just has 3 words. Okay, each sentence has 3 sensible words. So that's my first part of the story. Student will attend the course. Okay, student, I just go simply writing. Student is taught by. Even if I mean 3 words, is taught by, I consider it to be a single word, is taught by teacher. Okay, student, he's taught by teacher. See, hope you understand the word course. Course means MCA is a course, MSc is a course, MBA is a course, MSW is a course, and so on. That is what I mean by course. And when you talk about MCA, you do have different subjects in MCA. So I can say, like, a course has subjects. I'm talking about my college management system. So is there anything here? I can even talk about teacher and course, isn't it? Teacher teaches course. Isn't it? A teacher can teach for MCA, can teach for MSc, and so on. Teacher handles or teaches, whatever, give any name, handles a subject. Okay, I can teach for MCA and I can even teach for a particular course subject inside MCA. So I built up a very simple story. Now, once you have written the story, you should do identification. Identify the entities. Okay, so if you write your story sensibly, the first word and the last word, they will be entities. Okay, you can think name, place, animal, thing. These will be your entities. Okay, so if I list out my entities, I do have entities called student. I do have another entity called course. I do have an entity called teacher. I do have an entity called subject. I do have an entity called subject. Yeah, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Teacher, student I've written, course I've written, teacher I've written. Yeah. So those are the only entities I have. I have 4 entities. So the first part of my identification is over. I have written my 4 entities. Now after that, what should you do? You should think about attributes. Okay. So I write attributes for student. If you think about student, you can have, so you know when you write, start everything for student with ST, for course with C, for T with teacher, and for subject, you know, I will have it like this. So these are naming conventions which you can follow. So student, I can have student roll number, I can have student name, student date of birth, isn't it? Student address, student age, student number. I have identified all my attributes. Same way, course, I can have course ID. It is sensible to always have ID. Okay, because you can always think of that to be a primary key. Course ID, course name, course duration. As I told you, you can think about course like MCA or MSc, MBA, and so on. Teacher, I can think teacher ID, teacher name, teacher qualification, teacher mobile number or whatever. Okay, subject. I can have subject ID, subject name, subject type, whether it is a specialization or a core paper, and so on. So I have even identified my attributes. So the next thing you have to do is identify the primary key. Roll number, ID, student ID. I've done my attributes and I even thought about my primary keys. So my second part, that is also over. Now the third one, relationships. Now identifying relationships is very, very easy if you write it in a 3-word sentence like I told you. So look here, your story. Student attends the course. Yeah. So attends. That is a relationship. Taught by. That is a relationship. Has. Teaches. Handles. Okay. So all these are relationships. You will get a relationship only if you write a simple story like this. That is the best way to get relationships. Okay. So I have even identified my relationships. Now, the next thing is I have to identify cardinalities. Okay. Now, identifying cardinalities again is a bit of sense and imagination. Now, look here very carefully. I am going into my first one. Okay. So I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do have 5 sets of relationships. Now, for each of these relationships, I will need to find out my cardinalities. If you remember the cardinalities, you have 4 types. You have 1:1, 1:n, n:1, and m:n. These are the various cardinalities you have. Now, you can think of it like your class. A student can join for a course. Isn't it? A student can join for a course, or if you think about your class, many students, they join for a single course. Many students, they join for a single course. So that is one way in which you can write. You can even have it as an MS2N relationship if you think otherwise. Anyway, we'll have it very simple. Many students they are attending a course. 1:1. Another way you can think about each of these and think of the possibility it can have over here. We'll go for the next one. Student is by a teacher. If I should have a 1:1 relationship, only one student is taught by a teacher and the teacher is taught only by one student. Now, if you think about your class, me, a teacher, teaches many of you. Isn't it? I, as a teacher, teach many of you. And you are not only taught by me, you are taught by many teachers, isn't it? So you as a single student, if Atul thinks about himself, he is taught by many teachers. So you can say that it is an N-to-M relationship because I will have it as M:N because if you think from one side, our student is taught by many teachers. If you think from this side, if you think from the other side, a teacher, he is teaching many students. So this particular relationship will be an M:N relationship. Now, let's think about course and subjects. MCA course, if you think about the MCA course, it has many subjects. Okay, if you think about a subject called DBMS, that same DBMS subject, it doesn't come in MSc, it doesn't come in MBA, it does not come in MSW, it comes only in MCA. So, course and subject, it will be a 1:M relationship. Now, let's see. Teacher teach courses. Okay, if you think about me as a teacher, I can teach many courses. I can teach for MCA, I can teach for MSc, I can even teach for MBA and so on. Now think the reverse. Think about course. Think about your MCA. Is there only one teacher who's teaching MCA? No. There are many teachers who are teaching. So if you think the reverse, it will be like this. A course called MCA is taught by many teachers. So at the end of the day, because it is like this, I will write over here M:N. It is an M:N relationship. Now let's see the last one. Teacher handles a subject. Okay. Teacher handles a subject. I teach you one subject, isn't it? Or if you look over here, I will teach even first MCA. I teach you DBMS. Your seniors, I teach them theory of computation, which means, I am teaching many subjects. To think the reverse, to think about DBMS theory, only I teach you DBMS. Okay, only I teach you DBMS. Nobody else teaches you DBMS. Forget about your labs, it was simple. Okay, so that will be a 1:N relationship. Now, once all these 4 steps are done, you can very much start to draw the ER diagram. Now, let's see how you draw the ER diagram. Now, to draw the ER diagram, you have to write, you have to draw. Okay, so take the first sentence which you have written. So, the first thing you've written over here is student attends the course. So, let us draw it. Now, this is how you draw it. Student, all the entities, you will have it in rectangles. Okay, so I'll write over here. Student, it will be in a rectangle. Attends, all the relationships, they will be in diamonds. Okay, student attend courses. Okay, and then you will have a relationship like this. Okay, and what is the cardinality? The cardinality you have is M students attend a course. So you will write it like this. M students attend a course. M student attend a course. Now let's see the next one. What do you have written? What have you written? You have written student is taught by a teacher. That is the second sentence you have written. Student is taught by a teacher. So I have it like this. Student taught by a teacher. Okay, and it was an M is to N relationship. What is the third one I've written? Course has subject 1 is to N. Okay, course has subjects. It is a 1 is to N. And I do have a last one more. What is the last one? What last? Teacher teaches course. Okay, teacher teaches course. Okay, you remember the cardinality? It was an M is to N. It is a M is to N cardinality. And then I do have a last one. What is the last one? Teacher handles a subject. Teacher handles a subject. It is a 1 is to N. So now I do have the skeleton of my ER diagram. Now once we have the skeleton, we have to do the attributes. Now you have the skeleton, you have all the entities, you have all the relationships, all the cardinalities. I'll go once again. Entities will be in rectangle, relationships will be in diamonds, and then cardinalities, you will write it over there on the straight lines. Now is a very important thing, the attributes. How do you denote attributes? Look here, I do have student, roll number, name, date of birth, address, age, and phone number. So all this needs to be denoted in your ER diagram. So let us do that. Now, attributes, you will denote it by ovals. Okay. So the first attribute is student roll number. Then I have student name. Then I have the student address. I do have student date of birth. I even have student phone number. Now, out of which, if you remember, you had already told student roll number is the primary key. So, primary keys, you will underline it in your attribute. So, you know, student has these many attributes. If you again remember, address, it can be a composite attribute, which means, you know, it can have your house number, it can have your street number, it can have your place, it can even have your pin code. So, you know, this is how you denote composite attributes. The address can be split up into many. If you again remember, phone number, you can have 3 phone numbers. You can have your landline number, you can have your mobile number 1 and your mobile number 2, which means it is a multi-valued attribute. Multi-valued attribute, you denote it with 2 ovals, an oval surrounded by another oval. That is how you denote multi-valued attributes. Okay? So we are done with everything. We have 5 fields over here: roll number, name, date of birth, address. We left out age. Okay? You need to even denote age over here. Now, if you remember, age, it can be obtained from date of birth. that kind of an attribute, we told it is a derived attribute. So age is a derived attribute. Now, derived attribute, you denote it like this. Broken over. This is how you denote your derived attribute called age. Done with all the attributes of all the entities. I can write over here ER diagram for a college management system.